What up, T-Rock?
Man, it's good to be back.
How about this? Loopers for Life, back on the air, back live in Talgrace Marketing Media Studios. My man.
Yeah, look, life happens. We got a little busy there.
You know what? You got a real job and I got a real job, but your job's realer than my real job, I think. I mean, that's the
My
best.
job is
somebody
real
texted me,
here
yeah.
lately.
Somebody texted me like, hey, man, when y'all going to go back on there? I mean, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, dude, number one, I'm available.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm available. My man, Cousin T, has a business operation that is not a freebie like Loopers for Life. And I mean, and just like any caddy, I mean, I'm available for pretty much nothing. Passion of the game. Right. But it's good to be back. I mean, there was a little bout of COVID, I believe.
Oh, man, I went through it.
It's still around, man. I mean, they got the.
Have you had COVID? Have you had it?
I've had COVID. I've had the COVID
sick?
boosters. I've had the COVID shots.
I did too.
Then I got the COVID again. And then, I mean, the whole world is COVID. I mean, there's no doubt that this is something that we're going to be dealing with for quite a long time.
Did you get sick?
I mean, everybody gets sick, right?
I don't know that everybody does.
Well, I don't know what the sickness I
had a
was.
rough couple days. Sounded like Corey was like,
real
sick.
I mean, it's hit. Well, there's a lot of people that's been real sick.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
man.
and so I mean, there's no joking around and questions about it, and it is what it is right now. And I tell you what, though, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, man.
And I'm glad to be back.
Let's go.
We missed a couple of golf tournaments that were pretty big out on the PGA Tour.
The fifth major.
Yeah, we've missed some big news in the sense of Hall of Fame inductions. Mm-hmm. We've had some things, and one of the things that we missed was the Arnold Palmer thing, and that was the week that you kind of got sick, and I really wanted to talk about that, and we've discussed this before on Loopers for Life last year. Having your dad and your uncle caddy for Arnold Palmer,
cool.
and I mean, how cool was that?
Yeah,
and and everything that Arnold Palmer has done for the game, and it was really on display there at Bay Hill. And I just want I'm backtracking real quick, just because in Teague, Bay Hill played as tough as any golf course has played, and over since a major championship.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of a lot of griping. I mean, about the golf course being set too hard, and they're just coming back into the Florida swing, and when they go and they play at the Honda, they play all the way down south, and there's hardly any rough, and then they come up and they play in Orlando, and basically Arnold wanted that place. That place was pretty much Arnold Palmer at Bay Hill is pretty much like what Jack Nicklaus and Muirfield Village is. Mm-hmm. That was his club. Yeah, Arnold was from Lateral. And played at Lateral Country Club in Pennsylvania, and that was home base for him and his operation. But Bay Hill is Arnold Palmer's legacy. There is no doubt, and he built that golf course.
Agreed.
With the when it was built, probably with the thought of, hey, this is going to host major championships.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's such a big stop. Yeah. And obviously Arnold was a huge part of that.
His legacy, and he was always there.
It's a great golf course. I've never had the opportunity to play it.
Yeah.
Everybody that plays it talks about, the experience, and the Arnold Palmer, give you the thumbs up, and you just, you feel the masculinity in there. I mean, I don't know what it is about that, but man, that golf course showed up.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It was hard, and I mean, and it was so hard when the rough and the rough being a little bit different than the Bermuda rough down there. Guys were chopping it out of there, and I mean, Rory McIlroy was like, "Hey, I need to take a break and regroup because I play great golf and I shot 5 over par over the weekend."
You know what I struggled with in kind of those Florida, those Sea Island, Georgia courses was the grain when putting.
Oh, right.
I could never figure that out. It's so much different than here. I mean, so here you're basically just reading the break and trying to kind of play as much above the hole as possible. But, man, you got to know where that grain's going.
Well, yeah, and that was Bermuda Greens. Yep. And basically all the Bermuda Greens have gotten less grainier over.
Have they?
Oh, yeah, over the evolution of, being able to cross seed and do this and do that. And
I didn't realize that.
So, yeah, a lot of these places are going to Bermuda and I don't know what it's called, Champions TIFF. I'm just making that up, but there's probably a Champions TIFF Bermuda.
Yep.
And that Champions Tiff is less grainier, is more like a bent grass. It's able to hold, moisture better than what, Bermuda used to do. And Bermuda used to just hold moisture and then grow with the sun.
Right.
And so, learning how to read grain, and I grew up in playing a lot of golf in Decatur, Alabama, which at Burning Tree Country Club, which is the all Bermuda place. And
so that's all about the grain there.
And you had to learn how, like, a putt would look like it's going down the hill left, and the sun was over here on the right up the hill setting, and that putt would go and then break right to the sun.
Right.
So it's a those guys don't play these golf courses. These guys, and it's kind of like all the complaining that they threw out at Bay Hill was, basically because of rough. And here's the great thing about the game of golf, Teague. At the highest level, these guys like Cameron Smith, who won the Players Championship, can go out and play a perfect golf course in perfect conditions, like he did out in Kapalua at the Tournament of Champions, which he will be invited back next year because now he's a 2-time winner in the 2022 calendar.
Right.
They can go out there in perfect conditions and shoot 34 under par and set a scoring record.
Yeah.
Just like he did.
Yeah.
But then you factor in, over here at Bay Hill, rough.
The rough.
Right. Okay.
Or the TPC, the wind.
The wind and the rain.
Yeah.
The TPC, the weather delays at the TPC were incredible. It was, it definitely.
Josh, I'm not going to lie. I really enjoyed watching the TPC. Oh, I loved watching 17.
Round 2.
I loved watching them struggle.
When they finally got to round 2 and got to play round 2.
Because you're seeing them hit real shots at that point. I saw Scheffler hit one of the worst shots I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Dude hit this little just slice cut into the water. It was awful looking. And it was just Koepka hit one and just scotted up into there.
Right.
It was like, man, these are the best guys in the world. He's got no shot. He got
145-yard par 3.
Yeah, it was pretty fun to watch.
They're hitting 145. Maybe at the max it plays 155, 160. I don't even know. It seemed like they played it at 145 the entire week.
I enjoyed that.
But you're right. And that second round that was played, and before we even talk about the second round, the first round of the Players Championship, Teague, you know how long it took to complete that?
Oh,
for the entire field.
Well, a lot of them had to play 36 on Monday, so it had to have been crazy.
Right. 55 hours to complete the first round. So they teed off on Thursday. There was a group of players that got out and got it in. Tommy Fleetwood, who, we've been hyping up for the year. His ball striking is still incredible and and on point. And so, and he has to, he's a player that has to get a W here in America.
I tell you, man, because we talked about him.
He needs to go play for the Saudi Arabia place and go get you one over there because you need to learn how to win.
We talked about him at the end of last season on Loopers for Life. And basically, dude was close to losing his card. Like he is on the very, very bottom of people that have PGA Tour access. So now, granted, he's done decent over in Europe, which is getting him more access into the majors and that type of thing. But
his current play right now is going to get him into as you move up the.
But he struggled, man.
Yeah, and he's someone who just definitely needs to get a W over here in America. He's kind of like the Lee Westwood, I think.
Yeah.
Although Lee learned how to win here. But there was quite a time, where he didn't, and also too, never got that W in a major championship. But going back to the Players Championship, or not even that, just the elements that when you see the best players in the world play, and there's the factor of the rough. Hey, you got to drive the ball and play. If you don't drive the ball and play, as the tournament comes down, and especially the drama unfolds on Sunday, which it's great. That's what we tune in for. Do we tune in and watch that and see, all these birdies and go, oh, yeah, Cameron Smith's the greatest? Or do you sit there and you watch Cameron Smith duck hook one into the woods and figure out how to get it out and make a par, which he did on hole number 16 that literally this guy, his scorecard on the final day was crazy.
Yep.
And, and just how hard it is to win a golf tournament and how he handled himself hitting 2 of the worst shots in the history of back nine. This guy hit 2 of the worst shots I've ever seen in the history of a back nine championship.
Yep.
Period. Hole number 16, he's on the tee. In fairness to everybody who's watching or listening, I didn't even watch this thing on Monday, bro. I mean, on Monday, I didn't even turn it on. I mean, here I am, Michael Keaton with my whoopee, like Mr. Mom, sitting around the house, and I was watching Bold and the Beautiful and Young and the Restless versus the Players' Championship.
Right.
But, I mean, and then I saw somebody, today's Wednesday, I saw somebody yesterday, it was like one of the members over at Persimmon Ridge. He was like, man, can you believe blah, 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 his scorecard? And I was like, no, I really can't because I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But it was on last night.
So you watched.
Yeah, and so, like, it was on last night on the Golf Channel, the replay, and like literally when I turned it on when I got home, they were on like number 13, and I was like, well, this is awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah, this is perfect. So I watched the entire back nine yesterday, and knowing the results, and when he hit that tee shot on number 16, Cameron Smith, the champion, the Players' champion, like I felt for him. I mean, like, I would have agonized because that's my bad shot. That duck hook, that quick duck hook.
Yeah.
He pulls a quick duck hook.
That's your miss.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Excuse me.
Right?
I mean, my gosh. Yeah. But I mean, but how he handled himself, Teague. He just looked at it, kind of like did something, walked up there, found his ball, and then played the proper shot.
So my favorite quote in golf, and you'll probably have to tell me who this is.
Played the proper shot.
Maybe this is Ben Hogan, but my favorite quote in golf is try the best you can try to hit the best shot you can hit. But after you hit that shot, the key to being good at golf is having an indifference of where that ball went.
Right.
Like if you can control your emotions and just say, okay, well, I'll just go play from the woods. That's cool. That's where I think Tiger Woods was amazing at.
Well, yeah.
Some of the guys that are at the top of their game, they're okay. They miss a shot. All right. Well, I'll hit it out from where I'm at. That is such a huge part of being good at golf.
Well, in Tiger Woods, speaking of which, I mean, our Hall of Fame inductee that we have to have a little bit of discussion. We'll come back to it. But he did say something in that regards, too. Just recently, it was a quote, I guess it was around the PNC when he was talking about Charlie. He was like, if Charlie can understand how important the next shot is.
Yep.
And be all in on the next shot.
On the next shot.
And live and die on the next shot and take in that breath and play that next shot, then he'll be okay. Yeah. And that's how Tiger, his career and, his golfing career was defined as a little kid, and we're going to get into that. Okay. But, Hogan was definitely one of those guys. I think it is a Hogan.
Is that a Hogan
It might not be the full quote, but
right.
I think it was right.
That was a gist.
He's the best ball striker ever lived.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's, Ben Hogan, as we speak of, you're going to hit bad shots.
Right.
And, I mean, and Cameron Smith hit a piss poor drive and handled himself like a true
Well, that's
champion.
why he won.
Yeah, he pitched it out, went right through the pines, out of the pine straw into the fairway, had on a par 5, his third shot coming in, over 230 yards, right? Stripes his long iron right into the middle of the green, and dude, this guy made some putts. I've never seen anybody putt like he did on that final round either, T. Yeah. I think it was like the greatest. He had 8 1-putts on the back nine.
That's a great equalizer, man.
8 1-putts on the back nine. His only 2-putt came on the 16th when he hit that 3-iron or whatever he hit into the middle of the green, and he almost made that 40-footer coming down the hill. And so, like, and then you go into, okay, hey, hit a world class. Everybody's going to remember the shot on 17. Great, I'm with you, Cam. You knocked it in there. It was badass. Knocked down 9-iron. We'll talk about that in a second. But the second worst shot that he hit was his pitch out. As good as the pitch out was on 16, on 18, he pushes it over into the pine straws because I don't know how anybody hits that fairway.
Yeah.
And then, and so, he chips it out and chips it into the water, bro.
Yeah.
You got a 2-stroke lead and you just chipped it into the water.
Right.
On a pitch out.
Yeah.
You cannot make a mistake.
That can't happen.
I mean, how did that happen?
I don't know.
I mean, it was a terrible shot.
That's a mental mistake.
Dude, terrible. Yeah. And then he follows it up with what? World-class drop.
Yep.
Up and down. I mean, he almost holds his wedge from 57, tap in bogey, gets another 1-putt on the scorecard. His strokes gain on putting was phenomenal. I mean, but
speaking of drop, wasn't there a big issue with the drop?
Yeah.
I just saw something on Twitter. What happened there?
Well, that was an issue with Dan Berger, Victor Hovland.
It was Daniel Berger's drop, right?
Yeah, it was Daniel Berger's drop, and it was on the 16th. And so the 16th is the par 5 that, leads into the water right there. All the cameras are there, all the media studios there, and so 16 and 17 is just a huge spot on that golf course. And so Berger hits it, and they're playing in threesomes.
Okay.
Goes into the right. He's going for the green, cuts into the right rough. He just walks up, Hovland, and I don't even know what Joe are doing. and they look up and they see Daniel Berger dropping, 50 yards from the green. And they're like, hey, man, I think your ball crossed this line back here. There's no way that you're up there. And Berger's like, I had to, basically it was like, went back, started talking. They got a rules official, and it was like, well, I'm sure there's some replay. Basically, they were like, no, there's no replay. This is just kind of word for word.
Right.
And so then they go through this whole spiel. I mean, of like, Berger's like, there's no way. I mean, he goes, you guys want me to drop right here. He goes, I'm just telling you, there's no way. This is an improper drop. And he was like, you think that's an improper drop? This is an improper drop. And so Berger was very adamant about not dropping back. And, I think the total was like 120 yards.
It was a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it was 100 yards or so, the difference in, and Hovland and...
It's where he went into the water, right?
Yeah, and so, with that being over there to the right, that is a lateral water hazard. Let me get my PGA card.
Yeah, come on now. Let's
lateral water hazard. That is a red line, sir. If you're over to the right of that red line, you do get relief. Okay. You get two club links.
2 club links. No closer to the hole.
Yeah, no closer to the hole on the point of entry.
Right.
So your entry point. So he entered wherever, that ball, not on the line of where the flag is where the ball last crossed the margin.
I got you.
So, Berger's hitting from the fairway, hits a big old cut. I mean, the shot is like just a big cut. They show the shot.
And it cuts into the water.
And it just cuts into the water. And so,
I know on the shot, and what I saw on Twitter, it was that show the shot tracker, which I think was probably a little bit misleading too, because everybody was like, well, there's his line.
Right. And so, but I think it got up in the wind and then it just cut back and then it went way out in the water.
Okay.
And so basically, where Hovland and Joe, I think was his name, Joe's Damon.
Okay.
Yeah, Daly. I mean, and he's played great. He's the guy that showed his boobies to everybody.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
Free the nipples right there, little Joey. He freed the nipples. What was that? That was at the TPC, right? That dude's a hero in my book. I mean, anytime you free the nipples, it's like me at the yoga studio. There was this question about it, and I mean, and Berger was pretty adamant. He's like, man, I'm up there. Well, Victor Hovland and Joe were like, no. I mean, there's no way. We both saw the ball kind of cross the thing.
So it got a little testy.
So it was a little testy. It was back and forth. And I mean, and Victor, and here's the game of golf as you know it. Your job as an opponent is, and fellow competitor, is to uphold the field.
Sure.
Nobody else is out there policing you.
Sure.
So, when you're playing within that group, if you don't think it's correct, they could have played a second ball and probably went through the whole thing. And, that would have been an option. He could have said, all right, I'm going to drop here and I'm going to drop and I'll play this one. I'll play these two.
And we'll see what.
And then we'll go in there. But they had a rules official. And basically the rules official was like, hey, man, I mean, it's their word and your word. I mean, y'all need to kind of come to a conclusion. And basically Berger went back and played.
He went and played where they said.
Yeah, he went back and played from where they said.
Wow. Was it
so? I didn't read any of the
where did he hit the shot? What did he do?
I don't even know.
Don't even know.
Yeah, I just saw it on Twitter. Didn't see any of the post game, but it did make my Loopers for Life LIT skills notebook right there. And I will cross that off, sir. Speaking of which, on 16, man, I mean, how about Paul Casey? Paul Casey right in the mix, right? Stripes it down, playing with Cam Smith. Cam hits the duck hook.
Yeah.
Right? He steps up right behind and just flushes it.
Right.
Flushes it, goes right down the middle, and it rolls into not a divot, into a pitch mark where somebody's ball flew, landed, and just made a ball mark.
So that's no relief?
No relief. And like Teague, it rolled perfectly.
Oh.
And then set down into the pitch mark.
That's.
I mean, you didn't. It was incredible.
I didn't see that.
The rules official was busy on 16 here, and anytime you have a golf course like TPC Sawgrass where there's water hazards, they're gonna be a lot. They're gonna be earning their keep that week for sure. And there was a lot, especially with the weather conditions. I mean, it was like one of the most balls in the water ever, right? I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, I mean, he gets no relief, just like you would get no relief from a divot.
Okay.
if that ball is embedded in your own ball, if that's your pitch,
that's different.
No, you get relief. You get to pick it up and clean.
That wasn't the case.
It wasn't the case, and so he had hit like a chunk 7-iron that he hit, and then hit a wedge on it, 2-putted, and and basically stayed in contention. But I mean, he took himself. That par 5 really. It played differently this year coming down the stretch because not many birdies.
Right.
There wasn't many birdies at all, and usually that's a mover right there.
Oh yeah, that's where you're going to go make a birdie.
I mean, you're going to go make a birdie, and like Paul Casey needed to make a birdie, and he didn't. But the play was outstanding. The feel was good. Keegan Bradley being up on top of the board. I liked seeing Keegan again. I mean, there's a guy that was, obviously won the PGA Championship at Atlanta Athletic Club, coming down the stretch. Played some really good golf, made a couple Ryder Cup teams, was solid in the Ryder Cup, and then all of a sudden
disappeared.
Yeah, and I mean, now you can disappear on year 4 and 5 of your major exemptions after you win a major.
Yeah.
But after that, you better
get it back going.
You better get it back going. And he disappeared, and then but was still on the scene playing tournaments because he's a major champion, and you're not really. Not many major champions lose their card, right?
Right.
Right. So, so he was still on the scene, moving around and played great, but it bogeyed 3-putted number 17. He's 2 off the lead, 3-putted 17, and double bogeyed 18.
Well, Keegan Bradley's going to make our picks here later on.
Oh, yeah. You can't be taking my picks already on
He's going to make our picks here later.
Well, let me ask you, I mean, 5th major.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
I totally agree. And I love, honestly, so 17 to me is one of the iconic holes in golf. If I sit here and try to think about the holes that I would rather watch on TV more than anything, that one's there. I love watching that hole. I love watching people play that hole. It's just iconic to me. When I think about, I think about St. Andrews. I think about, there's certain holes that I think about. What's the one they just played where all the people, it's just real rowdy, that par 3 where they throw everything on the
where Joe showed his nipples.
I think I love watching that hole. There's certain iconic holes. Augusta, pretty much every hole's iconic.
Right.
But that hole, that tournament, and that hole for me in particular is it's a highlight for me to watch.
Well, it's weird. There's a lot of people that, especially on the Saturday, and a lot of the pundits. Big word for me, pundits.
Okay.
Yeah, Brandel Chambly and all those guys are talking about how poorly designed, the 17th is,
right,
and how it's, affected by this, that, and the other. But I mean, realistically, it's an iconic hole.
It is. Man.
I mean, there's replicas built of that hole.
I love that.
Right.
Hole.
I mean, I've never. I was fortunate enough to go there once, and I went to the pro shop. I didn't get to play, and I looked out the window of the pro shop that looks over the 18th green, and you can go, and you can barely see it back there in the back. But I mean, it's like I wanted to walk back there and go.
You may have seen this, but Brooks Koepka holds a record on that hole. Do you know what it is?
Most balls in the water?
Yeah. Do you know how many?
I have no idea.
12.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
Wow.
Dude can't hit that green for nothing.
Really?
And I just think it's hilarious.
And the tournament, so he's hit that in the water 12 times.
12 times.
Wow.
I mean, that's just incredible.
What's Brooks Koepka going to do this year?
I don't know, man. He needs to change his hairdo first.
He just changed it, though, man.
That blonde look to me. Whew.
There's
I don't
nothing.
know.
I mean, there's a guy that, he looked Tiger in the eye at Bellerive.
I know.
Tiger was making his comeback. He was the first player and it was a different Tiger. I mean, it's a different Tiger,
but
right?
Still, but the arrogance of that guy.
Yeah, he was impressive.
I don't know.
I mean, he was playing with Tiger. Or no, he was a group ahead or something. I can't remember that.
So in my opinion, he's got some swing flaws. I don't love his golf swing. And
right.
I think as good as he is, he's going to have days and he's going to have tournaments where he's on, but he's going to have stretches where he's off because he's got some swing issues. And I think that from a mental standpoint, from his confidence standpoint, yeah, he's going to be one of the best in the world, and he's going to be there in a lot of tournaments. But he's also got some swing issues, man, that I think he needs to be figuring out.
I don't know if he's dropped his swag a little bit with the whole Brooksy Bryson thing. I think he kind of did. I mean, and so he just went to the other side of, like I, had said before on here, he's like Shooter McGavin now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just not that guy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and with all the stories that are.
That's funny. Shooter's a great analogy for him.
I mean, he is. He turned into Shooter. I mean, Bryson turned into Happy Gilmore, and everybody wants to go see Bryson hit the long ball. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see when Bryson comes back. I mean, these next few weeks coming up on the tour, I mean, after the fifth major, after, this major playing of a lot of money that's paid out, now the real things are on.
What about Phil?
What about Phil coming back? I mean, that's going to be, when is it, and how is it? It's got to be the Texas Open before. I mean, there's
what's going to be interesting to me
before the Masters. I think he has to play. He's always played before a tournament.
Justin Thomas became. You knew he's going to have the big horse and the big polo on his shirt, and then when he lost that sponsorship, it was interesting to me to see like what he wore and how he looked, because it looked a little bit different. It's going to be interesting to see what Phil looks like, being that he lost everything.
Right.
It'll be interesting. No Callaway, no work day anymore, no
KPMG.
On his hat.
Yeah.
All that's gone.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what he's repping.
Comes in and what he shows up.
He might look like John Daly out there. Who knows?
Hey, John, if he looked like John Daly. Dude, I saw a video of John Daly hitting. John Daly is damn. He's an Instagram legend. I mean, that guy, nobody does loudmouth better than John Daly.
I saw an Instagram, maybe it was TikTok, I don't know what it was, but I saw something with John Daly where he was on the phone with Trump. And he's just talking to Trump. I mean, John Daly is just one of the coolest dudes ever.
I did see that. Well, the fifth major, I mean, in the TPC, I mean, if you're going to nickname something in today's world, we're either nicknaming it or we're canceling it, right? The fifth major is a good representative. I mean,
it's the fifth major.
Yeah, they play for more money than any other spot.
Yep. It means more.
Yeah, it has the history. It has the champions that, really, if you win there, you pretty much are going to guarantee it with one more major, Freddie Couples, and some good tournament play, that you're going to go into the Hall of Fame.
I totally agree.
I mean, it's definitely
I'm with it, man.
So, I mean, I'm a fan of it. I don't like the fifth major because really there's only four majors. They're not.
But if you got to rank that fifth one, that's the Players is it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is it.
That fifth tournament.
That fifth tournament used to be what? Tour Championship.
Sure.
Right. I mean, I was, but the
and
Tour
now that's just kind of weird now with the whole FedEx thing.
Yeah, and it's weird. It is. It is. You're 100% right on that, man. I mean, it is no doubt weird with the FedEx thing and how it goes down.
It's hard to keep
So the
track
Players Championship has played its way in, and being on the same golf course, being back in the rotation of March before all the majors. Like when it was like the fifth major and it was played in May they did that like 2 years in a row or something. Terrible. You put it in March right here before all the majors, you can call yourself a fifth major.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. I mean,
sure.
and I think it's a great, it's just a great venue. It's one of those that's iconic, like you said.
Yep.
And the money that they play for, bro. I screenshotted this. Cam Smith makes $3.6 million.
Yeah.
There was 5 players that got paid more than they've ever had.
More than they ever have.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to try, obviously the second place dude, Andrea Lahari.
Yep.
Who
can play.
Yeah, he's an Indian from India, and that dude is a baller.
Yep.
And he had a chance. I mean, he played really good. He won $2.1 million for his second place finish.
India from India.
Yeah, I mean, you got to say that, right? Paul Casey. This was the craziest thing for me. Paul Casey and his finish and his disappointing finish and how he came down the stretch. I mean, the bad break that he got, he came in third or fourth, $1.3 million. But that was his highest paid thing. Whoop, whoop. Oh, there it is, right there.
I mean, how amazing is that? And so there wasn't just that. There was somebody like
Doug Gim. Doug Gim made $675,000.
Who is Doug Gim?
Doug Gim has played well at the Players Championship. They said that this dude, he was a top 10 the year before.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And then there was another dude who made $327,000.
Josh, let me ask you this. So how much of this with some of these names being up there you don't normally see in these big tournaments had to do with the weather? And how when some of them had to play at certain parts during the bad parts of weather, and some of them got to play when it was nice.
This was very comparable to the British Open and to the luck of the draw. And and a guy like Justin Thomas, who we haven't even talked about.
Yeah.
He
played the worst of it.
Well, he played the worst of it and played the best of it.
Yeah.
He shot 3 under. Him and Bubba Watson were 3 under respectively, or Bubba was, 2 under and 69-70, and played 2 of the best rounds of golf that maybe have been seen on TV or not seen on TV ever. I mean, they played in some crazy conditions. And, and it goes back to like what we were talking about. What would you rather watch? Would you rather watch the best players in the world go 30 under par, or would you rather watch them hack it out and figure out how to shoot par?
Look, I don't know that that's everybody's opinion, but I love watching them struggle.
Right. I mean, that's what the U.S. Open used to be.
Yep.
It used to be the Bay Hill Rough.
And then they get mad and they complain, but I love watching them not just destroy every golf course they play.
Right. I mean, I'm with you, and that's why I like, that whole Bay Hill thing, and I did get to watch that on a Sunday and watch all those guys just, really, and I think it was a little windy too, and, really struggle on that golf course to, grind out a par, and you learn so much by watching that.
You do.
I mean, you learn like what Cam Smith did. His scorecard was incredible on his final round. I mean, the dude had bogeys everywhere, but he would bounce it back with a par birdie. Yeah. And then he'd have another bogey, and then he'd get 4 birdies in a row. And then he did what his shenanigans on 16, 17, and 18, which, ultimately didn't cost him the championship, won him the championship.
Right.
So I'm with you on that. And I think that, you do see those type of names in a championship field that is like the Players or like the U.S. Open or the British Open, that, you get the best players on the planet, and if half of them get a better draw, guess what? The other half are going to have to grind out a way to get into that final game on Sunday. And, and that makes for good TV, I think. So.
Man, Cam Smith's an ugly-looking dude.
Cam Smith is...
I mean, he's a Weasley-looking kind of...
cool Aussie, man. He's one of my mates.
I don't know.
Dude, how do you not like...
I'm going to have to look up and see what Cam Smith's wife looks like.
Well, he has a girlfriend. I mean,
does he have a girlfriend?
Yeah, he's got a girlfriend.
I got to see this, because I'm kind of
curious. She was there as a new girlfriend, because there was an older girlfriend that they had rumored to say, hey, I want you to cut that mullet. And he was like, no, I'm not cutting it before the Olympics. And so, he had a great Olympics. I mean, his success, Teague, has been really, really at the top of the board since he hit the scene.
This is going to be awful, but she looks like what you would expect.
She's a surfer girl, bro.
No, man, but she's not. She's not. You think about
body shaming here.
No, I'm not body shaming. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, you think about Dustin Johnson and Paulina and some of these other dude. Like, she's.
Hey, love is blind, bro.
She looks she looks like she fits with Cam Smith. That makes sense.
I dig it. Yeah, you can't body shame. I mean, I've already body shamed. Like every time I go to yoga, I body shame myself. So I mean, free the nipples.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
body shaming.
Let's talk real quick. I mean,
Tiger Woods.
Yeah, let's talk some Tiger Woods.
All right. So look, I've only seen brief pieces, but what were the highlights of his acceptance speech?
Well, obviously, we're talking about Tiger Woods being inducted into the Hall of Fame for his career.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, and
his daughter inducted him.
His daughter was the keynote, speaker. So Sam gave the speech. Everybody was there. I mean, it was an impressive list of PGA superstars, and everyone was there. So, the greatest thing that came out of that was just Tiger's determination. He didn't speak of anything about his wins or anything like that. It just was essentially how he was determined to make it great. And I just got lost right there.
Oh.
Hey now. Check.
I must have hit something.
Check. Oh, hey.
Now you're real lost.
Check. No, kind of still lost.
Still lost?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. It's just your headphones.
I can't hear me then.
Here, unplug your bottom headphone. We'll just.
I can hear her again. I'm in. All right. So, anyways,
we got to shorten the headphone cord.
His thing was that how he was brought by his dad to go out and earn everything and learn how to play. I mean, I think one of his best things is that he was, he said one of them was that he was given 75 cents 1 quarter to call home. the other quarter get a hot dog, and one quarter in case he lost it, and he ended up putting for quarters, and he came back with more quarters, and his dad was like, hey, you better not be putting for quarters, and he was like, all right, and then so he came back home with dollars.
That's awesome.
At a young age, and his dad was like, well, you're not supposed to be doing that either. But one of the great stories, and I told you, I mean, just him on the golf course with his dad, and how his dad used his technical training for the Army or the military that he was in, and serving in Vietnam, and serving our country, and probably the most dramatic warfare ever played out. Man, I mean, how he was used for Tiger to play. And the perfect example is there was a time where he would have to sneak Tiger on. Tiger would be able to meet his dad, had to meet him out in the woods on hole number 3. Yeah. And, had to be hidden when Earl.
Wearing his camo.
Yeah, wearing his camo. Then he would come out and he would play, and they would play until dark or until Tiger lost his ball. And so they would play beyond dark, play under the moonlight, and he knew that if he was on 16, he had to hit it down the left-hand corner because that's where he could find his ball. And the moment that he lost his ball was the time they wanted to.
How cool is that?
And he was like, I never wanted to go home. And so they were out there playing in dark, and Tiger's like learning how to hit all these little shots and find his golf ball. I mean, I just thought it was incredible. And I mean, and just the determination of what he had to overcome, not just, like really not just like what we know of him, but all the stuff that was prior.
Yeah.
And he kind of spoke of that, which was, not being able to go into clubhouses because he was black.
Right.
And not being able to play in the AJGAs because they couldn't afford it.
And so they had to mortgage their house.
They mortgaged their house. And I mean, and him talking about, how Earl and his mother made a decision to mortgage the house, took a second mortgage to put Tiger in the AJGAs in the event that he would up his level and be able to get a college scholarship. And it was a new thing, the AJGA, which is the premier junior golf tour. And, him mortgaging his house to be able to go play in it, then not being able to go into the clubhouses, and then saying, all right, watch me be Tiger Woods.
I got 2 questions. Where's the first tee, and what's the course record?
That's right. As he's putting his shoes and his shirt on in a parking lot.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and so that story, and then obviously we know everything that he's overcome in his professional career, and I mean the magnifying lens that he's been under. His play, and this is what's great. He has been remarkable in being able to come back and do the American dream.
Yeah.
Fail, get ridiculed, come back and be at the top of the game.
Yep.
He's done it a couple times.
Hopefully he can do it again.
And he's going to do it again. It may not be every week or something, but there is going to be a week when the sun's right and the feeling's good, and he's going to win the Masters again. I mean, or because he's going to be there.
How cool
right?
Would that be, man?
Yeah, well, it's going to be cool. I mean, so it's Tiger Woods and what he's done for the game and everything. We've talked about that many times here on Loopers for Life, but there is no doubt that it's still being written. And and he's the type of guy that when we had Mike on, who is in the circle.
Yeah,
I mean,
one of his
Master Mike Thomas.
people.
Yeah, he's in the circle. I mean, he said. Champions do what champions do. And he kind of, he alluded to Tom Brady, who, Tom Brady, everybody was going to retire. Why didn't they give Tom Brady, Teague? Why didn't they give Tom Brady a month and just say, hey, dog, why do you have to come out and retire and then unretire?
And then unretire on Election Sunday.
He took all the thunder. That was
weird.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, but he knew the news cycle.
I guess he did that on purpose.
Hey, and I turned on Get Up on Monday morning. I guess that's what I was watching. I was probably watching Tom Brady's retirement versus the Players Championship. I mean, it was the talk. It was no selection.
Weird.
Yeah, it was.
But so how you feel about UK's draw?
Oh, without a doubt, the best draw they've ever had. Now,
dude, Murray's good now.
Yeah, trust me,
Murray. That Murray. They're not just gonna step over Murray.
No, heck no. I mean, it's gonna.
But Murray don't have sheep.
But they have I can't believe. I mean, when I look at it, they Kentucky somehow got Coach K's draw. I mean,
they got a good draw.
Coach Duke has always been the best draw in sports.
Right.
And they got the worst draw.
Yeah, they did.
They did, man. I mean, like now they fumbled down the stretch. I mean, and so maybe Coach K doesn't retire after this. Maybe he wants to have a team that kind of doesn't disappoint him. But, they got a really tough draw. And so I definitely think that's good. But let's talk a little bit about fantasy. Let's
go fantasy golf.
All right, let's go fantasy golf. Let's go this week.
We haven't championship. We haven't made any money yet, but we're gonna keep trying here. So we're gonna do another team as we speak here. We're gonna put it in DraftKings.
I like it. So we're going to the Valspar Championship, which is played at Innisbrook down in Tampa, Florida. This is a great golf course. The Copperhead, is freshly redesigned a few years back. I think like 3 years ago, and during COVID, and they've made a great spot. And, they got the snake pig. They got like a little 4-hole. Routing that really is tough, and this is a very hard golf course. I mean, it moves left to right, right to left, and surprisingly, I have been here, never played this place, played some of the other courses on their property, walked around that one night. You don't even want to talk about that while we were out there, but it does go have a lot of dog legs to the left, right, and kind of some hills for Florida golf, and being in Tampa and being close by. So really good golf course, Teague. Who you like as well?
Well, so we agreed on one guy already. So let's go ahead and take Keegan Bradley.
Where's he at?
He's about in the mid. So
right.
he's 8,400. Now
Okay.
again, we have a total salary of $50,000.
All right.
So we're
$50K.
We're taking Keegan Bradley at 8,400.
I feel like I need to put my glasses on and make notes here.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. So I got some insight.
So how much was Keegan?
8,400.
8,400. So now we are down to $3,200.
All right. Now here's your top. Here's your top five. Okay.
Okay.
Justin Thomas is at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Hovland's at 2. Morikawa's at 3. Schauffele's at 4, and Dustin Johnson's at 5. And then the best swing in golf is at 6 at Louis Oosthuizen. But my dad seems to think that Morikawa's the play because he played so poorly this past week. He had made 8 of 8 cuts coming into the Tour Championship or to the Players Championship. So he seems to think he's going to come back with vengeance here.
And if you want to put Colin Morikawa in our play, I will always be for Colin Morikawa.
All right. Well, Morikawa is 10,700.
Let's throw him in.
All right. So he's our top guy. So he's in with Keegan. Another guy, and I'm going to give you some guys in this range here.
So that puts us down to 22K.
Yep. All right. So another guy, I'm going to go down here to the 7,900 range that my dad seemed to think was going to have a good week. And look, my dad is good at this stuff. He likes Adam Hadwin. He thinks Hadwin had a really good week. But also in that range here, we have Weisberger. We have Knox. We have Kisner. Webb Simpson, Woodland. But a little bit below him, we have Streelman, Aaron Wise, Harmon, Vegas, Molinari.
Well, I had Russell Knox as a power play that I kind of put down as a sleeper in this area because,
right.
I mean, he's
like
fresh off a top 10. I mean, I'll tell you what, too, though. I mean, with being at the same price, though, Kevin Kisner, I mean, how he kind of performed down the stretch.
Kevin Kisner's a value here.
I mean, Kevin Kisner is a value. I mean, if I had to pick between Knox and Kisner, I'm going to go with Kisner right here. I think Kisner is a better ball striker. And again, this is a ball striker's golf course somewhat still because of the movement of the golf course. So you'll have to be able to work a couple in, right, left, blah, blah, blah. I kind of like, that's who I like in that
Kevin Kisner it is.
Yeah, so
Kisner's in our pick. All right, now we got to go down the list here. Now, here's a guy.
How much money was Kisner?
Kisner is 8,200.
He's 8,200 again?
Yeah.
And we are spending some geech.
Well, that's what happens
so
here.
14K. We got 14K left.
Oh, no, we got 22,000 left. 22,700 with 3 guys left to pick.
Okay, I'm going to go. My math is not good. Obviously.
All right, so.
Fuzzy math.
Have you heard of Grayson Sigg?
Yeah.
So he is 9 of 13 cuts. Been playing well. I think he's a good long shot to try. How do you feel about him as a long shot?
Let's
we can get him for 6,800, which gives us we're in a good range here. So we can go back and just Adam Hadwin. Do you like Adam Hadwin?
I do like Adam Hadwin. I mean, he's played well here in the past. He's been on this kind of board. Like one of those shot maker courses. He's that guy. I mean, Adam Hadwin played where?
University of Louisville.
Louisville, yes.
Go Cards. He had a top 10 this past week, so I think playing Hadwin makes sense. All right, now we're down. We've got $8,000 left. So here's our guys, and you're going to pick this last one here, Josh.
All right.
Tringali, Buzendhot, I don't know, Weisberger, Hughes, Streelman, Wise. Doug Gim is out, or we would have taken Doug Gim. McCarthy, CT Pan, Nick Taylor. Any of those names?
No.
Jump out at you?
Camilo Villegas? Is he in there?
No.
Huh? He's not in there?
No.
Joey will want me to pick Camilla.
I mean, what is his problem?
I thought he would play in this.
No.
It's down there in that Florida area. Who else? I mean...
All right, so Tringali's 8 of 13 cuts. Buzendhot is 9 of 11 cuts. Weisberger's 3 of 4. That's interesting. Streelman is 8 of 13. Harmon is 8 of 11. Vegas is 8 of 11.
I like Vegas.
You like Vegas?
Yeah, I like Vegas.
Let's go Vegas. Vegas it is. All right, so our team is Keegan Bradley.
Right.
Colin Morikawa.
Right.
Kisner.
Yep.
Sig. Hadwin. Vegas.
All right. And we need all 6 of these guys to make a cut.
Pretty much, yeah. And I'm hitting enter. We're in.
All right.
Let's see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Well, and with this, I mean, we're also going to see today, there's going to be a big announcement on the Saudi Golf League. I mean, that's
today?
As Greg Norman's going to release the schedule, see how many people are all in on that, and basically,
who do you expect to jump ship and go?
Nobody. I
Nobody?
mean, they've all pretty much said they're not doing it. I mean, once you, and I think that they'll see how there will be some people that play in their events. There's no doubt. I mean, it's a golfing event. It's a tour.
And they're going to make a lot.
They're going to make
of
some money, right? But I don't think like you're going to see anybody just slowly go out there and get paid the $135 million like Bryson was offered or whatever to go play on this kind of full time.
Where does the PGA Tour land on this right now?
The PGA Tour has been winning on this thing, and so they've since the whole Phil Mickelson incident, they've been winning. But it's going to be interesting because that's going to be a big part of the news cycle over the next 2 weeks. With this tournament, followed by this tournament. Out on the PGA Tour is next week is a big one. It's the World Match Play, so you're going to have all the best players in the world, kind of their last preparation to play before the Masters. We're only 18 days away from the Masters start.
Do you like the match play?
The match play, I do like the match play. I kind of don't like it where it's at in the calendar right now. I think that ought to be something that's played a little bit later. To me,
I don't disagree.
But I do like the match play, and I do think it's great to watch on TV. Kind of as they go through the brackets right there. But the Masters quickly approaching. I mean, now's the time that you'll see a lot of guys on the PGA Tour step back.
Yep.
And and after that, they'll have a week and a half to prepare to go play because the Masters comes quick this year. I mean, April 4th is Monday.
It's backwards, should be though.
Yeah, it's always the first week of April, and it's always nice when it is.
Are
like
those commercials out yet? With the music?
Oh yeah, I've seen
I love them.
It's already on.
I love it.
I mean, 18 days away.
Feeling.
I mean, what's Hideki Matsuyama going to put on there? It's going to have some sort of sushi.
Ooh, yeah. That'll be interesting.
Go with sushi, or does it go with like, a Japanese beef fry? I mean, that Japanese beef, the steak,
the Kobe.
The Kobe.
Woo.
What about if he does a little bit of that?
Wagyu.
Wagyu. I mean, what is it going to do? I mean, is it surf and turf over there?
It'll be interesting.
I always like the Masters menu, and I just love everything. Everything
about that tournament.
The Masters, I mean, is great. And so it's really the sign of spring. And then here in Kentucky, it's not only the sign of spring, it's the sign of horse time.
Yeah.
And I mean, we roll out. We're very fortunate here in Louisville. Whether the Cards are in there or the Cats are playing well, basketball, March Madness is so much fun here at this part.
I tell you, man.
I mean, it's fun.
I've
right?
never been so checked out of college basketball as I am right now.
Yeah, but you got your women's team, man. You go out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they're number one seed. They're in the Louisville bracket. They got their whole thing. They're good, man.
They're really good. Jeff Walls is amazing. They got some great players. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm all in on the women's team.
Yeah.
It's
hard.
I don't know.
No, I mean, better times are coming for Broadway U.
What do you think of Kenny Payne?
Kenny Payne's coming. I mean, I hope he does. I mean, I as a UK redneck brethren, and fellow living in the heart of the city, I am going for the Uofl Churchill Downs trifecta. Let y'all get Tom Jurge back, get Tom Jurge, hire Kenny Payne, and then somehow pay off all the money that y'all owe to everybody else, and go get Jeff Brom, and then y'all can have your reunion, and then be great again.
I mean, Pitino back. Give me Pitino.
Oh well, can Pitino come in and be the athletic director at UofL?
No.
Why not?
No, because he's a basketball coach.
But he's still an athletic guy. I mean, and he's done with being the basketball coach.
He's not going to be the athletic director.
I mean, I think
he's winning at Iona.
Yeah. So going back, anyways, I mean, the March Madness is still relevant here in Louisville.
What a crime Bellarmine couldn't get in that time.
Oh, how about Bellarmine?
And then what about the NIT saying, hey, let's come have Iona play Bellarmine at Freedom Hall?
Bro, that's the worst thing.
Why wouldn't they do that?
Dude, how they're not in the NIT. I saw something. Did you see the thing where it says if the women's team could go play in the NIT? And
women's could?
Yes.
But the men's can't?
But the men's can't.
So dumb.
Yeah, I mean, and so they need to, whatever that is. Obviously, Bellarmine is going to be kind of getting through it. The NCAA has some issues, bro. I mean, how about the selections? I mean, does a tournament game matter? I mean,
apparently not.
Coach Cal's been saying it for years. I mean, the SEC tournament it's a wash.
He has been saying it.
He's been saying it. And so,
they proved that with Tennessee.
They proved that with Tennessee.
Texas A&M got screwed.
Yeah, I mean, what you're doing. Tennessee was probably the worst of all of them. I mean, they had more quad ones, whatever quad one wins are. They have more than any other team in the nation, and to get a 3 seed. Now, it couldn't happen to a better university, in my opinion. I mean, right. I'm gonna just say,
good old Rocky Top.
Oh, yeah, good old Rocky Top. I mean, that's the worst of the SEC right there, in my opinion. But hey, it's just my opinion, and I have the microphone, so I can say it.
Yeah, that's right.
I can say, but the injustice that is served on tournament games on Sunday is incredible to you because I mean they have all this stuff lined up.
Totally agree.
Realistically, they need to just go ahead and put another weekend on it. Have 128 teams, have everybody play, and if you're the worst team, you're the worst team in the SEC or the worst team in the ACC. Maybe you're the best team.
Yep.
And 4 weeks.
I don't disagree, man.
I mean, it'd
Why
be
not?
easy to do, right?
Why not?
Easy to do. 128 teams, all the Power 5 conferences in. Get your conference championships.
Why not?
And the runner-ups. I mean, like a team. Let's just talk about many times Murray State. Going back to them.
Yeah.
Maybe they were the regular season champs.
Yeah.
They lose their final conference game.
And Belmont always got a great squad. They deserve to be in there, and that's no doubt.
But I mean, we're on a roll right through March Madness, right into the Masters, and then from the Masters we go right into the excitement of the Derby.
Yeah, it's fun times right now.
Yeah, and then after the Derby, what do we have here in Louisville, Kentucky? We're going to have a pool open this year.
Yeah,
I mean, so there's going to be pools, and I mean, and golf season. I mean, and golf season is in full swing.
Let's go.
And I mean, it's time to play, time to get out your clubs, kind of time to dust them off. Let's go. Hey. Loopers for Life, we're back on. We got this new music for the day. We may bring our back one, but let's roll this out this year.
We got our classic. We got to stick with
every now and then. Hey, find us on Apple, find us on YouTube, find us on Twitter, find us on Spotify, find us on wherever you can find us. Thanks for everybody watching on Facebook Live today. T-Rock from the block.
Peace.
Let's go.